Welcome back, everybody, to He's on Fire podcast.
He's on fire!
It's great to have everybody again. We are going to get into the Arizona Cardinals heavily tonight. I've been telling everybody this, and now is the time. We're going to get into each and every game. We're going to talk about some of the new stuff that has developed with Jordan Phillips and the defense, and it's not looking good, honestly. But we're not here to bring you down. We're just here to be realistic with you guys. So we're going to talk about that, get into some Suns news. I want to talk about college football over the weekend. It's so great having college football back. This was week 1. Really excited. Go Devils. And then we're going to talk a little soccer with the U.S. men's national team. So it's going to be a lot of fun tonight. And fortunately for us, we have Salty in the house. Salties Gaming is going to join us. Amit with us again. God, that man is back. Good to have you again, bro. Let's do it, all right, Joe? He's on Fire podcast.
Urkavici sets, looks up, and it is caught! Dylan Strong! Blitz coming, Matthews, Palmer extending the play, crosses the field, Larry Fitzgerald. If he scores, it's over. It's insane to the 4-yard line. Crowder looking, throws it alley. Oh! He puts it down! He puts it down! They're getting a little wobbly. And a downfield shot to Ayuk. The front race. They won't get it. Center field. The Diamondbacks are world champions.
All right. So we need to get into it right now and bring on our guest and co-host. Let's bring them on right now. Salty, how we doing, my man?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. We're going to get into it almost right away. But first, the one, the only, my co-host, Amit. How we doing, dog?
What's cracking, guys? Doing good.
Yeah.
Good. We're all excited for Arizona Cardinals football, whether, we're going to be that good or not this year. We're going to get into that, but it's so good to have fans back, to have everybody, relatively healthy for the most part. So the first thing is Jordan Phillips, man. Salty. Earlier this week, Malcolm Butler goes out, and then Jordan Phillips. Where are you on defense right now, Salt?
Oh man, it's tough because this happens every year, so you kind of got to get adjusted to it. You know what's going to happen. You're planning for people. You think you're going into the season, you're going to have a certain squad, and then you get people on IR. So, but with Phillips, the situation with him, he's been a bad signing for Steve Keim. He signed, what was it? We talked about it earlier, $30 million deal, $8 million signing bonus, and he has done jack and squat together. He has done nothing for this team. So that's some disappointing news because he really hasn't made any mark on this team. And he was supposed to be a pretty big piece on that defensive line. Now you're going to have to shuffle around. So that news on top of the Butler news, because the Butler news is more impactful in my opinion. I don't know if you want to jump into that as well, but
Absolutely.
Yeah, the Butler news, when I heard that, I know he's not supposed to be your number one or whatever, but he's a veteran. He's got that presence. He made that Super Bowl winning pick on the Patriots. He's kind of a name factor. And I was happy about that signing, honestly, because he could tackle pretty well and stuff that Patrick Peterson wasn't trying to do. He's getting burned and stuff. So I thought that they made a good exchange there. And then all of a sudden he's retiring. So it's the defensive backs, man, it is such a question mark for this team, and it hurts to look at that depth. It hurts.
It just figures. I do have faith in Marco Wilson. I think Tay Gowan could be a stud. They're saying a lot of good things about Robert Alford, but we've heard that for 3 years, so yet to be seen. And it looks like Byron Murphy is really going to take a step up. His body looks a lot different. But going back to Jordan Phillips, Amit, we talked about Malcolm Butler last Wednesday, I believe it was, on the first podcast. And then this hadn't even happened. Now this happens with Jordan Phillips. What is your initial reaction?
Jordan Phillips, he's a steady veteran. he's like kind of a name, right? More than he is a player. So like, I think you can plug and play somebody else in, especially with some like flexible players that we have with Simmons and some other of our linebackers and defensive linemen. I mean, yeah, it hurts us in depth, but does it take away like, him? Like, yeah, he made some plays for us, but he wasn't like a game changer. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not that concerned about Phillips. Like, I think we have some guys that can do it. It's about the scheme. It's not about that guy, right? So I'm not worried there. We talked about the Malcolm Butler thing. Like I said, like I'm just worried we're going to see at some point two rookies and a second-year player, in a secondary facing. When we're going to go through the roster, we can talk about who they're going to face and what it's going to look like against some of these veteran quarterbacks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Tennessee Titans are going to be in a similar position. They've got a rookie cornerback, Janoris Jenkins, and then another rookie cornerback. So they're going to be going up against, D-Hop, AJ Green, Christian Kirk, and all of our dudes. Yeah. So they're in a similar position. I think they're going to be a little more prepared, maybe is the right word, than our guys. But everybody, please go ahead and smash like this video. Please share this out. You can reach us on YouTube, Facebook. All of us are on Twitter, and please go ahead and visit the link on Anchor and Spotify and give us thumbs up and support the podcast, please. So we're all just like shit when it comes to the Jordan Phillips news and Malcolm Butler. It just figures. But now we actually get to talk about real games. And 1 week from tonight, our first post-game podcast with the Arizona Cardinals, and they visit the Tennessee Titans. So Salty, we talked a little bit about week 1 matchup versus the Titans. What do you think is going to happen that first week?
It's a tough matchup for the Cardinals, to be honest, because we talked about the defensive back situation. Very, unsteady at this point in time. You have a rookie that you're going to be relying on, and the depth's just not there. Also, they have 2 stud receivers, and then you have King Henry as the back, one of the only backs that got 2,000 yards, one of the few that can carry a team literally on his shoulders because he's a mammoth of a man, So you combine that all together. Now, we have some strengths, obviously our quote-unquote strengths, which would be our defensive line, trying to get to the quarterback. So if we can get successfully to their quarterback, it might, cause some situations, 3rd and longs. Potentially you have to go away from the running back. That'd be the ideal scenario. You just pressure the heck out of their quarterback, get to him, get him, off unsteady, because he's not like a barn burner for a quarterback. He's not like an all-pro. The Tannehill had his time in Miami, right? And he didn't light the world on fire. And I think that you could just kind of knock him off his game. So my game plan would be to not blitz, but just try to get sacks on the quarterback, and then get them in long situations so they're not able to rely on their running back, and then go from there. But the problem is, it's just we talked about this before, is if they get that running game going, it's going to go into play action. Then you can bite on that. We have 2 very young linebackers in there. I don't know, man. It is. I'm worried. So
yeah, I mean, I'm not that worried. I mean, yes, obviously the thought of the running back and the wide receivers is scary, right? But like, what are they going to do? Are they going to throw the ball? Are they going to run the ball? Because now you've added Julio Jones, and I think that takes away from their identity a little bit, because they're a run-first team, right? So I just think like they're going to be trying to figure out like what they are. Like, I don't think they really know, because I think Tannehill thinks he's like Tom Brady, but we all know he's more like, not that, right? Like he's an average quarterback. So we'll see. I mean, their defense is always tough, right? So we're going to see. It'll be interesting. That's the matchup that I really want to see is Kyler versus their defense, because they're pretty stout around, and they don't give up too many yards and too many points. So I want to see that, because I'm really interested to see what Kyler Murray is going to do this year. I think he's going to have a breakout year.
I would argue he had a breakout year last year, but I think it all depends on Cliff.
Yeah.
Period. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Saul.
No, I stopped because I want to hear what you wanted to say.
I'm just wondering what their strength is as a defense. Like, what is their forte? I'm not like an expert when it comes to the Tennessee Titans. I'm not gonna lie, but our wide receivers are definitely a strength. Kyler could get out of the pocket, and then we have a way improved offensive line. I think our offensive lines are one of our strengths now with our offseason acquisition and stuff of Hudson. Should be interesting.
Tennessee was the 5th worst team in giving up yards last year.
Were they?
Really?
Just an FYI. They were like 25th or 26th.
But what about points? I'm sure they probably didn't give up a lot of points.
I'll double check on points. I mean, it's Mike Vrabel coach team, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, dude was steady as can be, but I'm looking out. They were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th worst in points overall.
Wow.
At 27.5 per game. So they have new defensive backs. That was a huge flaw for them last year.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, if Cliff Kingsbury can't light up Janoris Jenkins and a couple of rookie DBs with this core, then I'm officially worried. Stopping Derrick Henry and stopping that offense, we can have a completely different conversation on. But there's no reason why we shouldn't go out there and score 30+ points game one, especially considering we didn't show anything in the preseason. Now, a few years ago, that was actually a flaw and it worked against us. You remember that Detroit game? I don't know if you remember the Detroit game.
The tie game?
Yep, the tie game. I don't know if anybody remembers that one, but that bit him in the ass. So,
but do you remember what happened though? Because that's where my optimism comes from. Is that's when Kyler just took over the game and it was just like 2-minute offense for what? The last half of the fourth quarter and then overtime.
Yeah, and we lit them up and it looked great at that point, right?
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like if you give Kyler a chance, you take the shackles off him a little bit and just let him do his thing. He knows what he's doing, man. He's Russell Wilson. He is on that trajectory, maybe even greater.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. So, okay, we've talked about the Titans. We kind of know what to expect from them. We talked about their defense, a couple rookies. Everything revolves around Derrick Henry, that offensive line, of which their center and their right guard are going to be out week 1, by the way, as of right now.
Good.
So, take that into consideration.
Did you just say Derrick Henry's going to be out?
No. Their center and their right guard. But their offense revolves around Derrick Henry. And then now Julio Jones, but he was out last year. So we kind of discussed what is everybody's first overall game and the record after week 1. Salty?
I'm going to say this is an L.
We got an L there. Amit?
Yeah, I'm going to have to give it an L.
I would too. Yeah. I 100% see that. Right before you got on, Amit, me and Salty were talking just for a quick minute, and we both kind of agreed we could also see this game randomly being a 19-16 victory for the Cardinals as well too. I could totally see them going out in this game and scoring 1 touchdown, maybe even a defensive touchdown, and then randomly getting 4 40, 50-yard field goals and a winner from Prater, right? I could see us doing that legitimately. So, but overall, we're all going 0-1 to start the season.
I mean, we're like prognosticating on we don't know injuries, we don't know COVID, we don't know momentum of teams, we don't know who's going to be good from the rookie class. So we're just talking shit. I mean, we're guessing.
Exactly.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't really have a lot of faith in Cliff Kingsbury. I don't know how you guys feel about him. But I don't know. He just seems like a fraud to me. So I think that his college coaching kind of showed what he had to offer. And he was like a 500 coach at Texas Tech. And he just doesn't adjust well. It's a problem. Like last year, we could have made the playoffs, and there's some things that he did. I just think the proof's in the pudding with him as a coach. There's lots of articles that have come out, experts blasting him for his lack of adjustments. I think it was Rex Ryan. He told him to go to a damn NFL offense, basically just calling him out for his game plan and his game calling. I don't know. I feel like he's out of his element because this team is a talented team. It has issues, but I think ultimately you saw this with the Suns. You could have all the talent in the world. If you have a bad coach, your main leader, you're not going to go anywhere. And I just don't believe in Cliff as a coach, and that's a problem. And I could talk about Steve Keim as well, but that combination, like the Suns have this good synergy between their GM and their coach, and that's typically what you need when you want a winning franchise in any pro sport. You look at the Patriots and their situation, or any successful franchise like the Spurs, there's kind of a synergy going on there. And it's a weird scenario with the Cardinals because Steve Keim was allowed to stick around after he had a failed coach and he had the DUI situation because he's buddies with the owner. So I think that, we lucked out in that scenario because Keim drafted K1. We had our quarterback drafted, which is a franchise quarterback, and maybe we wouldn't have done that, but he also brought Cliff in, kind of this combo. So it's going to be a weird scenario if they do not get to the playoffs this year, because ultimately I think that you'd have to fire Cliff, but then what happens to your GM? That's the ultimate question for me. You keep Keim around for a third try at a coach.
This will be a fourth try for him.
Yeah, I talked about this with Evan because I don't really count the first one. I get it, but he retired. There wasn't like a bad scenario there, or like where he got fired or whatever. But he's had failures, right? Typically, as a GM, you get one failure and you're out. Now he had, this would be his second. Then you get a third failure. It's crazy. It could set your team back so many years, So
no, you were
Boom shakalaka.
I can't say nothing more. That was perfect.
Yeah,
that was perfect.
Yeah,
and
sadly, I was just gonna say, Keim is this is his last thing. So this has to work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like he's brought in talent, right? But then he's missed on things, and then he's done some weird stuff where like, okay, let's bring in Wilkes, like a defensive coach, and pair him with Josh Rosen, and then like let's see how that goes for a year. And I told everybody that I knew, this is the worst thing that they could have ever done. Like, this is not going to work either way. The quarterback's not going to work, not because he couldn't play. I think he could have played. I don't know. Who knows now? He can't make a team, but I knew the coaching hire was the worst coaching hire you could ever make. I'm surprised he still has a job after that.
Hey, Rosen's officially on the roster for the Falcons. He made it.
Did he make it? Okay.
Congrats to him. Was it team number 6 or something?
7 or 8.
7 or 8, 10.
Just awful.
I was so excited when we drafted him, man. I was drinking the Kool-Aid, man.
No, I mean, I think in the right system, he would have had a chance, but I don't think he's ever been in a system that could give him a chance. He had the worst offensive line in football his rookie season.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, because I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm a big Cardinals fan. I've been with the team since they got here in '88, and was listening on the radio when they're in Sun Devil Stadium, and just couldn't pack the stadium to, more opposing fans in your stadium and burning seats and all this other stuff. So I've been through bad times, and this is definitely not one of those times. I think, like I said, it's a weird scenario because there's some moves that I love Keim making. I think he's a wizard when it comes to trades sometimes. And I think in the later rounds of the draft, he's pulled some rabbits out of the hat. But when it comes to first round picks, he's dismal. He sucks so bad. And if you look at the history of his drafting, it's bottom. It's so far down there. And that's how you stock your team. It's not typically in the NFL. You don't stock your team through free agency. You can add pieces there, but like, why were the Patriots successful for so many years? They stocked and restocked their talent through the draft. And ultimately that's where Keim fails. And that's why I was like, originally when he got that DUI and we had that failed experiment with our last coach Wilkes, I was just like, bro, I don't want this dude drafting, and using our number 1 pick. I was like, I don't want him touching that. But luckily, the Kyler situation worked out. But such a strange situation with them, man. It's so the Bidwells have had a bad name in the Valley so long because of the dad, he's cheapskate and stuff. And his son has a better reputation, but it's a weird scenario with them because I know that Steve Keim has a really good relationship. Like, they're buddies. Yeah. And that's why he didn't get fired when he should have. So
Bidwell is probably in the car with him.
Oh yeah. You can't run a team like that, you have friends and stuff like that, but it's not the
Allegedly,
Goodfellas.
I should say that. Allegedly.
Yeah,
I'm not totally speculating. I don't know what I'm talking about, but yeah.
It's just
sorry.
I don't know. I see other teams out there that made the right hires and stuff like that with their coach, and it's definitely not an easy thing to do. Just look at the Suns, how many years it took them to finally find a good coach. But I don't know. I don't have faith. I don't know what to say. I just think it's a flawed situation with the Cardinals, man. Because I feel like they're going to go 8-8, just like Cliff Kingsbury always does. But they can't go 8-8 this year. He's a 500 coach. That's what he always is.
So they'll go 8-1.
Yeah, they'll do that. I mean,
it sucks because Eric Bieniemy was sitting right there, the offensive coordinator from Kansas City, and he's been there for a while. So, best case scenario might actually be suck this season, get a new GM and head coach, and hopefully that coach is Bieniemy and move forward with that. That could be a perfect thing for Kyler Murray, in my opinion. Look at the system that they're running in Kansas City. Would either one of you have an issue with that? I wouldn't.
No.
But I would. So I guess we have to figure out what's the line where the Cardinals. Is it the Cardinals just don't make the playoffs, period, and they both get fired, or is it? Yeah, they have to go like 4-13 or something.
I'm afraid. I'm honestly afraid that we're gonna get hit with injuries or something again, and then it's gonna be on Cliff, and Keim's gonna get the pass. Oh, but they had injuries. That's what I'm afraid of.
Bro, because this is the year, right? They went all in, JJ Watt and all this other stuff, the trades and everything. This is them putting all their chips on the table. If you can't make the playoffs this year, you got to fire everybody. But like I said, if they do not commit to firing their GM after they don't make the playoffs this year, that just speaks volumes to where the organization's at when it comes to winning. Because if you'd rather go with your buddy system and keep Keim around for another coach and another this and that and set your franchise back that much further, it just tells me all I need to know about Bidwell, because he's talked about being a winner and stuff, and that's fine. We experienced some winning under Arians and the likes and stuff, and it kind of distanced the Bidwell family from that stank that they had before. But if you go back to that, if you go draw back to that dirty well, and you keep your GM around and you put the scapegoat as Cliff Kingsbury and you let Keim stick around, I'm going to be very upset because I don't have faith. I don't have faith in this dude to hire the right guy. Like, how could you? I mean, he's had 2 cracks at it. You failed. Get out of here. And if they give him another one to hire another coach, it's just going to set your team back 4 years, 3 years. And it's just, and then at that point, Kyler Murray might say, hey, I'm going to play baseball, dude. Peace. Or I want to trade like Houston's quarterback.
I mean, I know you said that you don't really count the Arians retirement kind of a part of that he gets, kind of an asterisk there, I guess. I don't know. But I mean, there's obviously something going on with and Steve Keim because Arians left. Right.
Mm-hmm.
He went to go do his thing broadcasting and then in Tampa Bay for the last 2 years. And he's on his 3rd season now. So if he wanted to coach for 3 or 4 more seasons, why did he leave the Cardinals?
I know. I can answer that.
Want to be a part? Yeah. Answer it.
No,
please.
because I think Carson Palmer was retiring and he's like, I'm not starting with a rookie quarterback. I need to go with a vet.
We could have traded up for fucking Patrick Mahomes is my problem then.
But do you think they would have been winning right away? Because he went there in 2 years they won a Super Bowl? Or was it the first year? 2 years, right? Yeah. So but you're right. Like, why would he go with Jameis, right? Like, that's a weird place to go too.
That's where I'm at. Are you really going to be doing that?
I guess he thought himself. I think he thought the players that they had around Jameis, he could make Jameis better to win, right? Because same with Carson Palmer, right? Like he in Oakland, like they just didn't have the talent around him, and he got injured, and he just didn't want to be there. But we saw the potential with the Bengals, and I think maybe he thought, okay, maybe he's got a lot of the same things. He likes to go vertical. I can make it work with Jameis, and then Jameis didn't have his eye surgery yet, so maybe that's, I don't know. Who knows, man? That's my guy too. I don't know.
Now I'm bummed again. I was all excited, and now I'm bummed again. Like, the more I think about the Cardinals, the more like, that's the sad reality. So let's bum ourselves out more, and let's go into week 2 against the Vikings. The
Cool.
Vikings have my personal favorite running back in the league right now, outside of Christian McCaffrey, is Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook is a fucking beast.
Another Florida
This
State
dude,
guy. Yeah.
yep, this dude is an absolute animal. He is a killer. I absolutely love him. Um, Over on the depth chart side, outside of Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook, they got Adam Thielen and then Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson came out of nowhere last year as a rookie, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, he broke Anquan Bolden's rookie record for receptions
Yeah.
and yards. So props to him. If anybody remembers Anquan Bolden during his rookie year with the Cardinals, killer. He was a killer, and then had an what is it, an all NFL, all Madden career.
Yep.
He was an absolute destroyer of lives. And then, do you guys remember the Jets game where he just got pummeled in the head and broke his
Yep.
jaw and everything? Came back what,
Mhm.
2 weeks later?
2 weeks later,
Yep.
no painkillers. He didn't take any painkillers.
Shit.
Dude, the dude was a monster. And so for Justin Jefferson to beat that, it says a lot about him. And unfortunately, Justin Jefferson might not be as good as last year, but that's really hard to beat. Outside of that, they've got KJ Osborne and D.D. Westbrook, and then Tyler Conklin is their tight end. And then over on the defensive side, P2, Patrick Peterson. He is going to be their starting cornerback along with Rashad Breeland. At safety, they got Harrison Smith and Xavier Woods. I'm high on Xavier Woods. I think that dude's a killer. They got a couple UCLA guys you might remember, Salty, from Arizona State
Yep.
UCLA days. Anthony Barr and Eric Kendricks. Anthony
Yep.
Barr is a stud in there. And on the defensive line, they got Danielle Hunter, Michael Pierce, Dalvin Tomlinson, and Stephen Weatherly. A lot of guys who I honestly don't really know. I'm obviously more of a basketball guy, but
Mhm.
when it comes to defensive linemen, you got to have that sexy name for me to really recognize and resonate with. And I don't see it on their defensive line, but they've had a decent defense the last few years, and they play a base 4-3. But we're going to be home this game, and there's going to be a lot of talk going on with Patrick Peterson. So, Amit, I'll start with you. Week 2 against the Vikings. How are we doing?
We're gonna win. That's an easy one. I mean, if Patrick Peterson's back there, he's gonna get smoked. Like, there's at least 3 wide receivers he can't cover. Okay. I know that their defense has been good, but they've kind of been declining in the last like couple of years. Like, they've had a solid defense, but it's gotten worse. I think Cousins I've never thought of him as a winning quarterback. I think if you look at his like overall record wherever he's been either at 500 or under 500. So I obviously I love Dalvin Cook, but I think we should win this one, at least by a touchdown.
Wow, I like it. Hey, I would start at 1-1, Salty, against the Vikings.
Yep.
What are you thinking?
W.
All right. I actually kind of agree with you guys.
Yep.
I think we're going to be able to beat them. I don't like Kirk Cousins as a quarterback. I mean, he had that one weird season with Washington, which
You like that?
I respected. Yeah. Exactly. And Jordan Reed was the tight end. Like, they were no good then. Like, it was nice. It was a fun little thing, but I don't trust him as a quarterback. So I think that's an easy dub. Salty, anything else on the Vikes that you want to talk about?
Just want Patrick Peterson to get his just desserts, man. That dude got torched. He was a walking roasted chicken. You know what I'm saying? This guy was getting burnt. He was crispy, and he's been talking so much smack on radio shows and podcasts. Who was it? Oh, it was the Butler retirement, and he was talking about his number, and I don't know, it was his Instagram or his Twitter. He's like, maybe that number is not meant to be worn, and he kind of misspelled it.
Me?
And then he did,
And
then he deleted it. He deleted it. The dude is just toxic at this point. I mean, he took PEDs, wrecked that. That was one of the seasons that we had a chance to do stuff too, right? His PED season. And then we were counting on him, and he's out. And then come to find out of it, he was on the sauce for so long, and that's how he's staying with the game and the program. And then he just had a sharp decline once he got off the sauce. And the dude is just toxic now. It's like, all right, dude, Yep.
Ever since he got caught with those PEDs, man,
Yep.
it's just been downhill for him. And then was it Okay. Was it right before the Yeah, it was the season before the PEDs. He asked for a trade, right?
Yeah, he was man, he was asking for that fat contract because I think he knew what was coming, you know. He's trying to lock himself up because he knew he was gonna get caught or done. It's just I lost all respect for the dude when he got caught for PEDs and then his sharp decline, and then I don't know, man. It's
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah, he was one of my favorite players. I
Oh
almost got
yeah,
his
for sure.
jersey, and I'm
Hmm.
really glad I didn't. I mean, when he came into the league, everybody loved him that first year with Wisenhunt, you know,
Hmm.
taking punt returns to the house like it was nothing. And then the next season, you had the Pat Cat, and then he was the best defensive back in the league. Nobody can tell me otherwise. During that span, he was better than Richard Sherman.
Yeah.
He was
Hmm.
better than Revis Island, in my personal
Yeah,
opinion.
he was.
He
No,
did a
he's
lot
good.
of intangible things. And then to see it go like this, and then to talk shit just like Tyrann Mathieu, like both of them
His
were
boy.
boys. Like, yeah, both of them were boys. I get it. But the way they went out and how they're still running their mouth is I don't know, man. Y'all are making millions upon millions of dollars. But also, does it show their disappointment with not being able to stay in Arizona? That they're,
I
they
think
put a
so.
lot into it?
I think
Okay.
so. Because I think it kind of goes to their ego more than anything else because the team gave up on you. So if you feel like you're the most talented person in the world and then a team gave up on you, then you just kind of it's kind of a ego hit because like if you think you're the best in the world and then someone lets you go or whatever, then in your mind you probably salty on them because you're like, well, you didn't believe in me, so F you, you know, like I think
Yeah.
that's what it goes to.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we're all at 1-1 right now. I honestly, I
Mm.
think we all would take that. We
Yeah.
would all take 1-1 going into the Jacksonville game. Do we need to
Mm.
talk about Jacksonville, or is this just a common W for all of us?
I don't think, man, I think it's a W, but I think they have some exciting talent on their team, and it's a 10 a.m. game
That's the
on the
concern.
on the
The
on the
concern
East
is that we're
Coast,
going
so
to the
they
East
might.
Coast.
There's always a letdown game or two that you
Yeah.
kind of
So,
you draw
well,
up, and you're like, that's a W, and then all of a sudden the Cardinals love to lose a game like that.
our record against rookie quarterbacks is garbage. Our record
It's
against
true.
backup quarterbacks is garbage. Our record on the East Coast is probably fairly respectable to a point.
Hmm.
But let me throw out some names. Trevor Lawrence is going to have James Robinson in the backfield, and I chose him on my fantasy team, so I'm really hoping he has a good year, especially with ETN that went out, sadly, the other first round pick. But their wide receiver room, Laviska Shenault, they
Hmm.
picked up Marvin Jones Jr., and they got DJ Chark along with James Robinson. I think those are actually some pretty worthy guys that Trevor Lawrence is going to be slinging it to. And with our defensive backs, I could definitely see this game actually potentially getting out of hand to a point. Am I
Hmm.
off about that, Ahmet? What do you think?
Well, it's funny because some Raiders in the chat said Jags are going to win by 20.
It's
That's
funny.
not going to happen.
They're just trolling. They're trolling.
That's not going to happen. But yeah, there's a possibility that the Jags could win the game. Like, let's not pretend like, oh, this is like we're all of a sudden like the Suns and we're like, yeah, we're playing Houston on a Wednesday. Like that's a win. We don't know if the NFL is not that way, right? So we don't know that, but yeah, I mean, I still think that just the Cardinals have more talent, they have more experience,
Hmm.
especially at the quarterback position, and
Bro,
they have a rookie coach as well, right? They're dealing with a rookie coach, so that's another thing to tack on.
you can officially put a stake in the Cardinals' chest if they lose this game. I'm going to tell you that right now. This is a must-win game, and it's weird to say that as the third game or whatever it is. But if they go and they lose to the Jags, stick a fork in them, as they say, because we'll get into the rest of the schedule. If they can't win that game, I'm sorry. It's over. It's over, Rocky. It's over.
Damn, you just burst my bubble a little bit there. You're right. No, you're completely
It's
right.
true. We went through this, man.
You are spot fucking on here.
He's on fire.
Oh.
And it's unfortunate because if we do lose to Jacksonville, dude, Cliff might get fired on the hanger.
I mean, because look at it, because we said we'd split there, right? So you go 1-1, but then if you go 1-2, then you have the Rams who we can't beat. We have
Yep.
so you'd be like 1-3 at that point. Then
the next 3 games, the next 3 games are daunting after this.
Woo wee.
I mean, it's sports though, right? Sometimes you
Yeah,
need to
I
get your
know.
ass
Yeah.
whooped like that, and then you come back, and then you can beat the Rams in LA randomly, right? Like, so things can happen. Collectively, we all agree at this point we're gonna go 2-1. I think most people would probably bet that. I mean, I don't even know if I could call Urban Meyer like a rookie coach with how much experience that dude has overall. Like, he is in the NFL, I get it. It's hard to actually call him a rookie coach, even though he technically is. But I mean, he's a better coach than Cliff Kingsbury will ever be.
Well, that's for sure.
Like,
but we don't know what his play calling is going to be like. How it's different, right?
yep.
What did he call in Utah, in Ohio State? Was he a pro style coach? Or?
No, he did pistol.
No,
he did a lot of pistol.
And then some spread too. He did quite a bit of spread. I remember watching them having a lot of 4 outs, 4 wide receivers, and a lot of 10-man sets.
Yeah, like I think that he'll actually adjust, unlike Kingsbury. Like he can actually adjust to the NFL instead of like going counter against that to show how smart you are. So we'll see.
I do want to shout out the chat real quick. JV and Raiders. I do got a lot of Raiders friends here, so I'm not sure which one of you that could be, but thank you for tuning in. And Roy, you said earlier you were wondering who our dark horse is for the Cardinals, and I want to go with Rondale Moore. I think Rondale Moore
It's a good
really
pick.
work out in this system. Salty, do you have a dark horse or somebody that really could rise up this year? We got a couple good backs in the backfield too.
I think Moore is that pick because health wise, because he had some question marks there, but if he's healthy, that was still the pick. That's why I was talking to you before we got in here. That's why I was like, Keim sucks at drafting, but I kind of like his draft this year. Collins potentially, he might have a crazy year. I hope he does because we need him, right? As one of our. They pretty much said, hey, this is his job. You're not pulling what you did last year. He's playing, so he's going to be in there. So, Benjamin, I feel like this guy's eventually going to be RB number 1. I like what I was seeing from this guy. He plays on special teams now. I loved him at Arizona State. I feel like with our offensive line, I feel like potentially, he's running back 3. He's already moved up that depth chart because he was 4, then he's 3. And I think eventually his talent's just going to be too much to pass up. I don't know if that happens this year. Who knows what happens with injuries and stuff like that. But I think that he has a bright future with the Cardinals. So we'll see what happens this year. I think eventually he's just going to be RB number 1. And that's my prediction there. But I would go with Collins for my dark horse, I guess.
That's a good one. Ahmet, who do you got?
It's got to be Marco Wilson.
Ooh, yeah, good pick.
I think he's the one because I think Rondale Moore. I think we already know he's going to be good.
Oh yeah.
He's got that kind of like Remember when John Brown we saw smoke and it was like, okay, that dude, if he keeps his career on track, he's got like Marvin Harrison type like route running ability. You know what I mean? He just couldn't keep it couldn't stay healthy. But I like Marco Wilson.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This draft, go down the board for the draft potentially for Keim this year. This is like a crazy draft. When you're pulling Marco Wilson, what was he, a 4th round pick?
5th or 4th?
I think either way. And he's potentially going to be one of your main cornerbacks going into the season. Collins, Moore, and I don't know the rest, but it just
Simmons
last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this year, our draft, I like it a lot. That's why it's weird with Keim, right?
Yeah, exactly. Go figure. So again, I said it on Wednesday. I'm not 100% sure if we can place a lot of blame on Steve Keim this year because I do like the moves he made. I do like the picks that he made, but time will tell. Yeah,
because with the retirement of Butler, you can't blame Keim for that. There's no way anybody would have known that. And like I say, I don't blame Keim for that because he was planning on having Butler, and it's not like he got injured. He retired. You guys agree?
Yeah.
Until
we find out officially, yes.
He can't come back though, right?
He can.
I mean, retired players can come. He would just have to re-sign because that contract's void. Because
but doesn't he have to miss like a certain amount of weeks? Like he can't come back like week 3. Like he has to be at, I don't know what it is. I thought it was like week 12 or something.
I thought he definitely could come back, but I could be wrong about that.
Honestly, like, is weird. Gambo talked about it. Usually has bad takes, but he said if you have someone with that mentality of wanting to retire, you probably don't want him coming back anyway on your team. He's not really in the mindset to play. So I probably just the Butler situation's he's gone. I don't think we're gonna be getting him back, and I'm not even counting on him getting him back. But it's critical that their defensive backs stay healthy.
Yeah,
who's the dude that came back from COVID? Not COVID, but he was out for one of their cornerbacks. He was hurt last year. Yeah, Alfred.
Yeah. So everybody said that he was the best cornerback the last 2 years in training camp before he got injured. But I mean,
Alford.
Yeah, 2 huge injuries. I mean, I just expect him to be shell of himself at this point. But props to him, man. Dude's gonna make it to week 1 for the first time in Arizona. I think that in itself is a good sign just for him personally. But we're not here for personal victories. We need W's, right? And that takes us into week 4, our nemesis. So we play all the way on the coast in Jacksonville week 3, week 4 all the way on the other coast against the Rams. 2 games back-to-back away. Is there any way we can win this game and finally beat the Rams, Amit, or is this an L?
So I'm probably going to be at that game, and if I go to the game, I know we're going to lose that one.
Shit.
But then, but even if I don't go, I'm like, even if I don't go, do I feel confident? I mean, here's the thing: like they traded their quarterback, right? So they got Stafford now. I don't know if I think they went sideways. I don't think they upgraded. They got Goff had some limitations in the offense.
Rejected.
You don't like that? Woo. You think he's better?
Dude, Stafford's a walking 4,000-yard quarterback, dude. This is with a shit.
How many playoff games does he win?
Running in a shit system with no defense, no running backs. I mean, he had Calvin Johnson, and that was pretty much it. And then he still had I can't think, Galladay, and then guy that we just talked about that went to Jacksonville, Marvin Jones Jr. Like, Detroit is the
Golden Tate. I mean, he's had some running backs too. Like, and he's had Eric Ebron. He's had some weapons.
Eric Ebron is meh. No good running back has come through there since Barry Sanders. I bet you can't name 5 Lions running backs.
I can't remember the guy that they took after we took David Johnson. He was good. I don't know if he's still on the team.
Bro, like who is he throwing to on the Rams?
Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Tyler Higbee, Van Jefferson, Deshaun Jackson, and they just picked up Sony Michel too.
How old is Deshaun Jackson?
He's old.
Dude must be old now. I don't even think he played last year. He was injured last year. He is 34. Damn, I'm older than him.
Their running back, Cam Akers, is that
he got hurt, and then Darrell Henderson is there, and then that's why they picked up Sony Michel. But I feel like with this offense, it's a lot less to do about the talent and more about the guy calling it, and Sean McVay. Like, over and over, I've never seen a team where receivers are more open down the field than with the Rams. And that's just not against the Cardinals. That obviously happens. That's against, I don't know how many games. I mean, Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods have been marquee names in fantasy football for the past few years because they get the job done. And so now you actually have an offensive coordinator that knows what the hell he's doing. And Matt Stafford, we could be seeing a 4,500 to 5,000 yard season from Matt Stafford, my opinion. But I'm usually wrong though.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not too high on their offense, to be honest. I know what you're saying about Stafford, but he has to kind of prove it, and he's
sure.
He's old, and he, kind kind of injury prone. I think that their defense has always been their pillar on their team, and it's still going to be that way with the players they have. So I think the defense is definitely something to worry about. And then Goff killed us. He went Joe Montana every time he played us. So it didn't matter how bad he was playing before. He'd light us up for 500 yards and like 5 TDs. You know, he just went ham. His eyes got big when he played the Cardinals. So will it be any different going to Stafford? I actually welcome Stafford as opposed to Goff against the Cardinals, to be honest.
But bro, John Wolford lit us up in week 17 last year with the playoffs on the line.
Yeah, but we had some issues going on there, man, because our defense, just imagine our defense's mentality, because you know how it is. You're watching these teams. When you know that your offense can't cut it and they're going to go 3 and out, imagine how much energy you're going to come out. It's just demoralizing and saps your energy. And then by the time, because it got into crunch time, when the offense needed to make plays, we had fools that couldn't make plays, man. We were putting our faith into what's his name, that gimmick quarterback that couldn't do jack. And it's just like, at that point, I don't blame the defense for not making plays because they're gassed. You go 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. You can't score, you know. So I think it was a tough scenario in the playoffs, or trying to get into the playoffs. But like in a regular season game, I think it's a different story. I think Stafford is in a new system, and sometimes it takes time. I don't know how much time it's going to take, because you remember how Palmer was in Arian's system. It took a while for him to gel, because people were saying he was struggling, and then people were saying, "Oh, Palmer's washed. Get him out of here," you know, because he was struggling for a while. He talked about that on the radio multiple times, and sometimes who knows how long it's going to take a player to gel, if at all. So, I mean, when do we play these dudes? Game 4?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. So who knows? I think, is that at our place or theirs? That's theirs, right?
I mean, I think that's the test right there. I think we're going to know about both those teams at that point. Are the Cardinals real, or are the Rams real? Like, one of those teams is going to be real because they're in the division. There's not a lot of room, right? Mm-hmm. So I think whoever wins that has I mean, obviously you got to take the season 4 games at a time as we go through, but that might set us up for like looking at like who's a playoff contender and who isn't at that point.
So officially, Ahmet, week 4 against the Rams. I'm
taking the Cardinals.
Ooh,
wow.
Nice.
I'm just gonna take the Cardinals.
Salt.
Hey, I'm not a betting man, but I would put a lot of money that the Rams are going to beat us that game. So it's just statistics, man.
Facts. I completely agree.
Hell, I might put money on that game in real life. Shit.
Especially if we lose against Jacksonville. So me and Salt have 2-2. Ahmet 3-1. If the Cards go 3-1, Ahmet, we're all on board. Are you kidding me? We're talking.
What were we last year, though? I'm sorry, I don't. I mean,
we started strong. We were like, what were we,
4-0, 4-0,
4-0. That's what it was. 4-0. Yeah.
I don't know what it was. It was 6-2.
Yep.
I think. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to bring up the past.
Yep. 100%. Damn.
40 whiners.
Next game. Yeah. Let's just get into it right now. 49ers at home, coming off of LA. Ahmet, thoughts?
Who did they declare their starting quarterback?
I think it's what's his name, right?
I don't think they have.
I don't think it's Lance.
It's still Garoppolo?
I think they're going to go with Garoppolo, to be honest, because could you guys correct me if I'm wrong? I thought Lance, I don't know. I didn't see him as like a polished dude coming out of college, like Fields. I thought he was.
No, he's not. He's all potential. He's all potential.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if they're going to just throw him to the wolves, because he flashed in the preseason. I saw some stuff, but I don't know. It's not like he was Kyler Murray coming out the #1 pick, or some of these players that have had experience and stuff. Like I liked Fields over him in the draft anyway. So I don't know. I don't know if Lance will be your quarterback. Now, if he is, we struggle with rookie quarterbacks. Everybody lights us up. So maybe it would be a better thing if we did have Garoppolo that we played against. But Should be interesting because just name a rookie quarterback, and they lit us up. Like every rookie quarterback. I don't know if there's a rookie quarterback that we didn't struggle against. So it's been crazy. They go for records too against us. Who's Miami? Tua
killed us.
Tua
Jalen
murdered
Hurts even
us.
killed us.
Jalen Hurts killed us.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Do you remember the Cam Newton game?
Yeah, we won that game.
That's burned in my memory, dude. I remember that game.
Yeah, so that shit happens all the time. And Salty, maybe you can help me real quick. I accidentally blocked JV, the one that I didn't mean to. Do you know how to unblock him or where to find that in here? Didn't mean to, JV. If you're still watching, that is my bad. My bad, dude.
Can't you just do the 3 dots on the side of his name and it says unhide or whatever?
No.
In the chat. Are you on the streamer or are you on YouTube? Because
I was on StreamYard. I can probably
on YouTube. Go to YouTube. Go to the chat. See his name. Unless the chat's not up for you, but you click on the 3 dots. It should say undo or unhide.
No,
if that doesn't work
on StreamYard, so I can't find it on there.
All right, so go to YouTube Studio real quick.
Yep, I'm there.
All right, go to settings, bottom left.
Yep.
Community. And then it's going to be in the show the people you blocked. Just unclick it.
Perfect. JV, yep. We will bring you back. No worries, man. All right. So officially going into the 49ers, what are you guys thinking? I think it's I'm going to call an L on that one.
Is that that's our place?
Yep, that's ours. That's coming off of the Rams.
I'll call a win on that one.
I like it.
So what am I at? Let's see.
3-2. I got you down so far. Ahmed's at 3-1 going into this game. I mean, Ahmed, if we're 3-1 going into this game, this is an automatic loss. We're at a high. We just beat the Rams after the first time in 17 years. This is an automatic letdown loss for us, right?
That's what I was trying to say. Is I'm like, how can I justify this team sitting at 4-1 at that point, right? Mm-hmm. It can't happen. I just realistically, it's got to be they got to come down off of that, and it's a division rival that knows us. They may play a rookie quarterback. We know how that goes. So yeah, I mean, we got to go the Niners. Yeah.
All right. I'm at 2-3. Salt's at 3-2, and Ahmed's at 3-2.
Yeah.
I think we would all take 3-2, but then we have a really weird game next week. After that, at Cleveland. I don't like Cleveland that much. I mean,
is it at Cleveland or is it at our place? It's at 105.
It's at Cleveland. I know that Myles Garrett just sacked Michael Bercovici again from the Texas A&M Arizona State game in 2015 when he got sacked 17 times. That just happened. I love Myles Garrett. Their running backs, I love Nick Chubb. Wide receivers, I actually do like Jarvis Landry. I'm not the biggest OBJ fan. Or Baker Mayfield, but this is a team that can light us up, right? They can do that. Nick Chubb is a boss. Kareem Hunt, before he became the woman beater that he is, he was a boss. But they do have some players. They have stability at the coaching position for the longest time. So this is kind of a weird game. Salty, I want to start with you against Cleveland. What do you think is going to happen with them?
They're kind of a weird team, right? They did really good last year, but they have a history of kind of being up and down. I don't know if they've gotten over that hump with their new coach. Maybe their quarterback on again, off again situation with him. So people were saying he's washed. Some people say he was the truth, and then he's washed again.
10th in the league in passing yards, by the way, and 10th in the league in rushing.
Okay, I think.
Excuse me.
So we're sure it's at their place.
Yeah, it is. It's a late start. It's a late start weird. East Coast game.
All right, that's an L for me then. I don't see them winning over there.
I see it as a win. I think that they
it's a win.
That team. They've beaten Cleveland already. With Kyler.
At their place though.
So
yeah, it was at their place too. I think
I was on defense when I went to passing and rushing. So officially passing, they are the 9th worst team in passing. Rushing, they are the 3rd best team in rushing last year's stats, right behind Baltimore and Tennessee.
Yeah, because of Chubb.
That's on offense. Yeah, Chubb, dude, he's a boss.
but then they have Mayfield, and I have no confidence in that guy. So I'm going to take the Cardinals because it's not a 10 a.m. game like for us. So it's a late game. I think they can win that. I think weather's going to play. We'll have to see what the weather is too. It's October. It could be cold. I don't know.
They were the 9th worst passing defense, but they are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th best in rushing defense. So top 10 in rushing defense, bottom 10 in pass defense. That's a really good point, though, that you just made about it being a 1 o'clock game, an afternoon game on the East Coast. I feel better about those games. Like whenever we played late, like against the Giants quite a few years back, or the Eagles when we clinched the NFC title or the NFC West title. Those are all like later games. Games on the East Coast, I actually do feel good about. I'm going to call a win on this one. Ahmet, are you going to call a win?
Yeah, I'm taking W.
Salt?
L.
So me and Salt are now back at 3-3. Ahmet is at 4-2. I think we should all listen to Ahmet more.
Mm-hmm.
I just believe in Kyler, man. That's all.
Hey, you're not wrong. And fortunately for us, on the very next week, we have the Houston Texans completely in shambles. It's home. I wish it was away for J.J. Watt and DeAndre Hopkins, but they're going to have something to prove. This is a home game. I think this is an automatic W, even more so than Jacksonville. I think they're going to be the worst team in the league. Anybody disagree?
No, they're gonna be bad.
Yeah, they're gonna be bad. That's a W.
W.
Don't even need to go anywhere else with them. I mean,
I'd be more confident in that being a W than Jacksonville.
And then right after that is a short turnaround. Thursday night, home to Green Bay.
L.
It's an L, but I think that's going to be probably one of the best games of the season. Like, not just for the Cardinals, but just any football fan is going to want to turn that game on.
I completely agree. I think that the Packers are going to, not the Packers, Aaron Rodgers, A-Rod, he is going to be on a fucking mission this year.
Yeah.
It's his last year in Green Bay, and who knows where he's going to go. I think he's absolutely going to crush it for them. And Aaron Jones is going to do special things. I mean, who doesn't love Devontae Adams? That's an L. That's an L.
I think it's going to be like that score is going to be like high 30s. Like it's going to be be fireworks all over the game.
Like 41-34, 41-31, something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm at 4-4. Salt's at 4-4. I'm at 5-3. Is that? Do I have that correct?
Yeah.
You think we're gonna go 5-3?
Yeah.
I mean,
we don't know injuries. We don't know anything at this point. I'm just, everybody thinks their team's gonna make the Super Bowl right now.
We're winging it. We're winging it. And then we have a little bit of a break, being the Thursday night game going into San Fran at San Francisco. What do you guys think? We've already kind of discussed them to a point. We know they're dudes, which I didn't even bring up, and me or Salty didn't either. I mean, I think Brandon Ayuk is going to crush it for them this year. I'm a big Brandon Ayuk fan, but at not Candlestick, whatever it is that they're playing down in
Levi Stadium.
Stadium.
We'll have 10 days off.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have looked at the previous game. I think the Cardinals can win. I don't know if I'm going to say it. Let me hear what you guys think. I'm deciding.
Salty, that's kind of a tough one too. I want to hear what you got to say.
I think that if we had this discussion before the podcast, that you need to sweep one team out of the division. Because I honestly, I don't know. It might be the San Francisco now that I look at it, because we do pretty good in San Francisco usually. So I would say that that's a win for me.
Interesting. Yeah, Ahmet, we were talking beforehand. If we can go 3-3 in the division, I think we're going to have a better season than what most people think. But I mean, if we go 1-5, even 2-4, it's going to be tough. And that would mean I don't think we're going to beat any of the Rams games. I don't think we're going to beat them either time. That means we got to sweep San Francisco or Seattle. I think we're more apt to do it against Seattle personally, and we can pull one out against San Francisco. But if they're healthy and if they're ready to go, I think San Francisco is the better team. I think I'm going to put this one as an official loss.
Then I'm so we're gonna lose. Okay, so I'm gonna say they win on 10 days rest.
My man, we're 6-3. And Salt, you said this was a loss?
Win.
You said this was a win. So
Yep.
I'm 4-5. Salt is 5-4. Ahmet is going strong at 6-3. Super Bowl contenders over here. And then we come home to Carolina. Regardless of the coach, regardless of the defense, regardless of the quarterback, we always have a hard time beating Carolina unless it's in the playoffs. Salty, Carolina, what do you think?
W.
Sam Darnold, CMC, W against Carolina?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we killed Darnold when he was with the Jets, man.
Yeah,
That's a W. But here's the thing. I'm looking at the schedule, just looking ahead a little bit, and there's some like garbage teams on here that like the Bears, the Lions, and the Panthers. There's no way we're beating all three of those teams. We're going to lose to one of those teams. So I'm just trying to figure like, but at Darnold, I'm not concerned about. So it's probably going to be one of the other ones.
There you go. And then at Seattle.
What about you? Did you predict Panthers?
Yeah, I'm going to say a W.
Okay.
I'm going to say a W. It is the Matt Rule system where he came from Baylor. I mean, I thought they did really well last year. They just had a lot of injuries with CMC hurt. I thought Bridgewater performed admirably, but I can understand why they would want to go and get Darnold. But now Darnold is reunited with Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson was on fire with him. I mean, they didn't get any wins, but dude was on fire. I don't trust Darnold, and that's what it comes down to. I trust Teddy Bridgewater more than I trust Darnold, but that's probably why I'm not an NFL head coach. That's just where I'm coming from.
No, that's logic. Like that's pretty logical. Like Darnold has shown nothing that he's good at all. Like he's at like Rosen level. Like this guy just can't even produce anything.
I believe you. I'm right there with you. That would be ideal to get that game because we go from at San Francisco, home to Carolina. Who knows what's going to happen in the San Fran game? And then at Seattle right before the bye. I'm calling this one a win. I don't really trust Seattle this year. I mean, I trust Russell Wilson. I don't really trust anything else that's around him. I think them paying Jamal Adams was a mistake. I think he's overrated for sure. I'm calling this one a dub, though, and it's going to push us and propel us into the final stretch of the season after the bye week. Remember, there's a bye right after this. Ahmet at Seattle, the first game against them. What do you think?
I think they're going to lose that one. Because what I'm saying is they're going to win, 2 games in a row. And then they're going to go into Seattle. I don't think it's going to be like they're going to lose by like 12 or 11 or something. I think it's going to be like one of those classic Arizona Cardinals Seahawks games where it's going to come down. And I think, probably Russell Wilson wins it for him or a kicker wins it for him.
Word. Salt?
L.
Can we be mad at him, Ahmet, for calling that L too?
No, I mean, the divisional games, like, yeah, we're talking about it now. We're going to be so pissed or so happy when these games happen. But right now, talking about it like as like, just not upset yet about the outcome. I think we can talk logically and say like Seahawks have our number sometimes, right? We get them in their field a lot.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen this year.
Yeah. I'm at 6-5. Salty's at 6-5. Ahmet 7-4. Ahmet, if we're 7-4, I'm still calling this a good record for us. But with Cliff Kingsbury, man, at this stage, year 3, with all these weapons that we picked up, if we are 7-4, I'm honestly still, it's not performing to where we should be. At this point, shouldn't we be 8-3?
If we had a good coach, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the
100%.
expectation of it? Yeah.
Yeah.
New head coach, new quarterback, completely new system. Shouldn't we be at least 8-3 at this point? Wouldn't this be what we deserve, I guess I should say?
Yeah.
Salty?
Yeah.
And here we are picking a 500 team. Just
Yeah.
want
All
to
right.
put that out there.
What am I at with this after I picked the loss for Seahawks?
You and I are at 6-5, and Ahmet's at
Okay.
7-4. And then we go into Chicago, which by now I honestly think we're gonna have Justin Fields here. I'm a big Justin Fields fan. I think this dude is gonna explode. And I love Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson is one of the more underappreciated wide receivers, along with Terry McLaurin, in the league, in my personal opinion. But Bears in Soldier Field, East Coast, 11 a.m. off the bye week. Salty's already calling an L.
Cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is December 5th, man. December 5th.
Yeah, I think it's so. It's funny. There was a article that the Ringer had about the Bears and their quarterbacks over the last 45 years, and if you go and look at their track record of quarterbacks, it's depressing, man. Like Jim McMahon is like the best quarterback. Jay Cutler might be there too. Those are like the two best quarterbacks they've ever had in their franchise history. Rex Grossman, like he's the one that got him to the Super Bowl. So it's like, and now you have Justin Fields. He potentially could be the greatest quarterback after like 2 years, right? But it's going to be cold. It's 12 o'clock, noon. I don't know if I guess that's West Coast time. It's got to be. The Bears are going to win that one.
I'm not sold on that. I'm not sold. I mean, I'm probably a little higher on the Bears than most people. I do like David Montgomery. I said Allen Robinson. Marquise Goodwin, I think, is going to be really good for them. They have Damiere Byrd, by the way, former Arizona Cardinal. And then on the defense, Khalil Mack, Roquan Smith, Akeem Hicks, Robert Quinn, Jalen Johnson. They have a good team. I really do think something tells me we're going to get a win. I have a really weird feeling about that. I'm high on them. I'm probably wrong, but we're coming out of a bye, going to Chicago. I could see us pulling that out, honestly. I'm going to put it down as a win. Ahmet, you're calling it a W or a loss, I mean?
Yeah, I'm going to take that
Okay.
off.
All right. I'm right back with you, Ahmet. I'm at 7-5. You're 7-5. Salty's probably the realistic 6-6. And then we get into our next game against the Rams, home game. I'm calling that an L right away. I'm assuming Salty is. Yep.
Nope. I'm calling a win. It's at home on Monday night. The crowd's gonna be crazy. This team at this point is looking at the standings and saying there's potential to make the playoffs here. They're gonna be motivated, and they're gonna. We got to beat the Rams.
Good man. I mean, it's gonna break at some point, right? That streak will break. I just don't think it's gonna be this year. I'll speak for Salty. He sure doesn't think it's going to be this year with our coach. Mm-mm. But if we can get a win, that propels us into at Detroit Lions. That's a dub, right?
Yeah, I'll call a W on that.
They play inside, right? They don't. Their stadium.
Yeah, it's inside. Yeah.
Ford Field. Yeah.
I think they'll win that one.
Awesome. That puts us at a good place, and then we come home against the Indianapolis Colts. I do love JJ Taylor. I don't like anything that I've seen out of Carson Wentz, though. I'm going to call that a win for the Bird Gang. Salt, what do you have against Indy? Week 16. Christmas Day, by the way. Christmas Day game, which we got the Suns Christmas Day. We're going to have the Cardinals Christmas Day. It's going to be a good Christmas Day.
A W.
W. On Christmas Day. Ahmet?
Christmas Day at home. Yeah. We're winning that game.
I don't think the Colts are going to want to be there.
Yeah.
Right?
I think at that point, we're going to know about the Colts too, right? Like, is Frank Reich really a good coach or not? He's reunited with his guy, Carson Wentz. If it doesn't work out for them, and we're going to know some point earlier in the season, and either he's a quarterback or he's not. And I think it's just I think the whole team is going to be in shambles at that point. So
I agree. I completely agree. And then unfortunately, we're going to go over to Dallas it's technically an 11 a.m. start, my time. So that's a noon, your guys, or 10 a.m. your guys' time. That's an early start in Dallas. I think Dallas is going to be pissed after we kicked the shit out of them on Monday night last year. Obviously that was with Andy Dalton. I think this is going to be a loss, you guys. Salty, at Dallas, week 17. What do you think?
W.
Ooh.
We historically do well against the Cowboys. Not historically, I
Mhm.
should say within the last, 12 years or 13 years.
Yep.
But I don't know, man. If Dak is back, they're healthy. And I think their defense has gotten better. But it's still Mike McCarthy. So I don't know, man. It's hard for me to say that they're still going to be.
Mike McCarthy is pretty dumb. But Dak was killing it last year before he got injured. And I think CeeDee Lamb can do some special things. And there's all of these reports and all of the fantasy football podcasts that I listened to said Ezekiel Elliott came in ready to go this year. He was fit. He was focused, a level of focus that we haven't seen from him. I don't like Zeke. I'm not a big Zeke fan. I do like CeeDee Lamb. I think they can do some things. I do like Michael Gallup as well, too. I actually do like what's going on, vlogs. I actually really do like Dak Prescott. I liked him coming out of Mississippi State. I thought he was underrated. I'm glad that he got the opportunity to get a start there once Romo went down. And we got Romo for broadcast. I love Romo on broadcast, man.
Yeah.
He's so good at that. But I am a Dak Prescott fan. Dude can sling it. I'm calling it an L. You call it a dub. Ahmed, are you?
It's the Cowboys. I'm gonna say we lose that one.
All right. Going into the final game of the season, I am 9-7. Salt is 9-7. Ahmed is 10-6. And here is Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll, and that defense standing in front of us for a potential playoff spot. We know exactly what happened last year when we had to put up or shut up in 2 games to get to the playoffs. And we fucking folded. We folded like a puppy dog. Got on our back, rolled over, and that is 100% on coaching, dude. 100%. They quit on their coach because our coach does not respect the command of the NFL players in that room. I'm calling this one an L till close the season. Amit?
I mean, at that point, we're looking at a potential playoff run, right? I mean, either at this point, Kingsbury's figured it out with Kyler, or he hasn't. And if I'm going with what I predicted, I feel like they'd have to win this game. If I'm saying they're going to win these other games, so I got to say that they beat the Seahawks at home.
I like it. Salt?
L in heartbreaking fashion, and the season missed the playoffs at whatever it was.
You've seen this movie before, haven't you?
Yeah. What would that put us, 9-8 or something like that?
Right. Both you and I, completely different W's and losses for like 75% of the season. Wind up at 9-8. Mr. Positive over here, I'm at 11-6. If we go 11-6, I think that we could absolutely make the playoffs. There's 7 playoff positions, an extra game this year. I don't think 10 wins can get you there. I think you got to go 11. So I think that would get us in. Amit, do you think a 10-win season can get us to the playoffs, or is it 11 or bust?
I think it's going to be. Yeah, I think it's going to. I mean,
I think
definitely 9-8 is not making it. 9-8 is not cutting it. And if with an extra game, I don't think 10 is going to cut it. So I think 11 has to be the number.
Yeah, it's kind of strange with the new game in there, but like 9-8's the new 8-8, you know. So, but there's been examples of other, teams making the playoffs at 9-7 before. So that 10-win mark,
rare.
you could still, I mean, it could be rare, but you sure ain't getting in with 9.
I mean, It is another COVID season. I mean, dudes, we could go in and play the Rams and half of their roster's gone and we win that game, right? Things can happen. Now, I do want to sugarcoat this to a point because right before we got on, we were all talking and we did say we could absolutely see the Cardinals randomly getting a pick 6 to end the game and win it against the Titans. We could see Matt Prater against the Rams kick a 56-yarder to win it by 1 point. Like, we see the potential of this team. We just don't fucking trust Cliff Kingsbury. And that's the sad part, right? We can totally see an 11, 12, 13 win team. I can also see a 6-win team.
Yeah.
Big time.
Am I off on that, Amit?
No, that's it. Everything in the NFL is like the margins are so slim for winning that like it's like, a missed field goal, or like not calling for, not kicking a field goal and going for it. Things like, I mean, these little decisions, or I should say little, like, inches and yards that change things. That's where teams go from like 10-6 to like 6-10. Like, it's not like, everybody's sort of in the middle for the most part. There's only one or two teams that are separated from everybody else. And we don't have the coaching to overcome that. Right. So either Kyler has to overcome it, or we're just going to lose.
Yeah, absolutely. Amit, I want to stick with your official prediction. I want us to go 11-6. That's what I'm going to take away from this podcast is Amit said 11-6. Because I don't want to go through another offseason with finding a new coach, finding a new GM, getting a top 10 draft pick. I enjoy watching the draft being pick 23, pick 25. You know what I mean? That's obviously way more fun. Unfortunately, I think we're in this realm. Salty said 9-8. I also said 9-8. I think we're right here. We've discussed it. We've gotten into it. We had the pros. We have the cons. We see the roster construction. Now we've got some injuries going in. That's just where we're at with Arizona Cardinals football, is we kind of expect the worst. So again, I'm going to take away from this podcast a little positivity and say 11-6.
Look, I mean, we got offensive weapons for days, right? Like, we got a lot of offensive weapons. We got the best wide receiver in the NFL. We got a potential MVP at quarterback. We got playmakers at all sides, all levels of the defense.
He's heating up.
We got a coach that in the last 2 minutes, he can give it to his quarterback and he can win the game, right? Maybe we get some luck from some other teams being hurt, COVID, something, I don't know. But dude, if we went 9-8 and we got Bieniemy and we had, a good season, Kyler shows progress, I'm happy with that. I'd be good with that if we did that,
Sure.
If that's what ended up happening.
I agree too. Anything can happen in COVID years. Anything can happen in football. Maybe this is year 3. Maybe this is the season that Cliff Kingsbury can turn it around. Actually call some fucking plays that aren't a wide receiver screenplay to an old Larry Fitzgerald on first down, and then second down, run it up the middle for a loss of 1, and then run a QB run play.
Yeah.
Right. For the first 3. I mean, we're going to go 3 and out the very first drive, and it's all going to be uphill from there. But maybe not. Maybe he learns. Maybe they didn't show anything during the preseason because they have new things that they've been working on. Kyler Murray said he knows this offense like the back of his hand this year. This is way different. Isaiah Simmons can play in space and can absolutely make up for the defensive back loss. I thought Isaiah Simmons looked so fast in that open field. He was covering Travis Kelce. He was covering their running backs out of the backfield. I can absolutely see this Arizona Cardinals team making noise, but we have to see it on the field. Week 1 is going to be so much fun. I can't wait. 1 week from the night, we're going to do a post-game pod, but we're not going to do it right after the games. We're going to be here probably around the same time we started tonight. We all got kids, and, it is what it is. But before we get out of here, are you guys down to talk just a few minutes on the Phoenix Suns? Are you good, Salt?
Yeah,
I can go a few minutes.
Awesome. So, not really a whole lot of Phoenix Suns news has come out recently. I mean, I think we all just want the guys just to get rest. It was a long playoff run. We see Booker out with Kendall Jenner right now, enjoying his vacation, and good for him. He deserves it, especially after the gold medal game that he put on. So the biggest news that's come out is DeAndre Jordan to the Lakers. Does that impact your thoughts at all, Amit, on what the Suns are going to be able to do in the Western Conference? Or is DeAndre Jordan a breaker for the Lakers for you, or a game breaker, I should say?
It shows me the desperation of the Lakers.
Oh, there
it
is.
I mean, if he can't play on a team that doesn't have any centers or any size, he can't get minutes on that team. And what is he going to do for the Lakers? Like, is he going to give you is he like a great teammate or something that he like brings some positivity? He's like a Jared Dudley in the locker room. Like, I don't know what he does. Like, I heard there was somebody on Twitter that cut a Lakers podcast, and they're saying that he's bringing like this like beast level mentality to the defense, and the Nets didn't bring it, so he was. I'm like, man, you guys are really stretching it, bro. Like you guys are so myopic. There's no way. There's no way.
I mean, these are the same dudes that said Andre Drummond was going to be
Right.
a killer for them. He's going to be the best
Yeah.
center next year, and they didn't even want to resign him.
Yeah.
Salt. Any takes on DeAndre Jordan to the Lakers or the Lakers in general?
Man, they're grasping at straws. I mean, they're trying to amass every old guy piece of talent they can. I think the bigger play is picking up the point guard. What's his face?
Rondo,
yeah. I think that they missed him significantly because he was on that championship team in the bubble. Then he left. I think he's a big piece of that team, even though he's older. I think he's smart. So I think Rondo's bigger than DeAndre Jordan, obviously. So
yeah, but is he going to get minutes? He's a third. He's going to be like the third string point guard because they're going to like it's Braun, Westbrook, Taylor Horton Tucker. Like he's not. I don't know if he's going to even get.
He'll get minutes.
And Kendrick Nunn too. Like is he going to get the ball, man? I don't know.
I forgot about Kendrick Nunn.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think he was an important piece of that team, and if they're going to go with all these veterans, I'm sure he'll get some time in the playoffs and stuff. He's a veteran. As far as everything else goes, DeAndre Jordan, I don't know, man. He's just another old dude that is going to slide somewhere on the team. They have Howard and everywhere else.
And Mark Gasol. They got Mark Gasol. They got Dwight.
Got
Howard,
all the old people.
And they got DeAndre Jordan. I mean, it just says to me that they don't have an identity right now.
No.
Except for bricking.
Yeah, they have no spacing and no shooting. I think it's going to be either really good or a nightmare over there. So
it's going to be a nightmare. It's going to be a train wreck because they don't have an identity. They're kind of putting all these players together that were good at some point, and you're expecting them to be good again with LeBron. And it's like, have we seen that with any of these guys? Like, think about how many players he's done this with now. Like, dude, I mean, you got to go back to Cleveland and Miami.
Half the fucking league, man.
Yeah. And
he does it all the time.
Dwayne Wade's gonna all of a sudden be great again with with Cleveland, and like they had to cut him or whatever they did with him. Like, I mean, J.R. Smith, how many times, how many places? So
the
Lance
writing
Stevenson, they brought him in for Christ's sake 2 years ago.
The writing's on the wall with Braun. He quit on his team last year in the playoffs. He can't carry people. Like he said, his shoulders were built for that. Anthony Davis is a stud, but he's a glass dude. They brought over Westbrook, and he's just not a winner, to be honest.
Yeah,
he's selfish, and the team is going to have spacing problems. They're going to have injury problems. They're going to have all kinds of problems because it's not like you put a team together. Because like people think that you put these teams together and it automatically works. It's like if you're talented on paper, it doesn't mean that it's going to translate to wins,
Yeah, there's only like a handful of teams that have won championships by just being thrown together. I think the Celtics did it in 2008. I know Toronto did it, but they already had a team together. They just brought Kawhi in and plugged him in. But there's only a couple teams that do that. You can't just put a team together and be like, oh, we're going to go to the finals. Like, no, you have to kind of figure out who you are, where your weaknesses are, and then build on it like we did, right?
Because if you're going to look at a team that's dangerous, that got more dangerous, it's Brooklyn.
Yeah.
They had injuries, and then they added older players and stuff, but they're going to be scary. They were scary last year, but they had some injuries. KD's the best player in the world.
Yep.
So they're on the other side of the docket, so you don't have to worry about them necessarily. But when it comes to the Lakers, I don't know. I'm just going to be sitting back in my chair with a martini, just sipping it and enjoying LeBron's downfall because this dude is the cockiest dude on the planet, and he just feels like he's king shit all the time. And I saw everything I needed to see because he said my shoulders were built for this, and he quit on his team, dude. He quit.
Sure. I guess that way.
When's the last time you ever saw a player of that magnitude in a playoff game walk out of the game non-injured and quit on his team? I've never seen that in my life.
Yeah. The 19 91 or 9, I think it was 91 Detroit Pistons when MJ finally beat them. But they beat
quit.
them. It was done.
Yeah.
It was over. They walked out. Isaiah Thomas said they walked out because when they finally beat the Pistons in 88 or maybe 89, the Celtics walked out. And that's just
But
how
it
you did
wasn't
it.
like there was like third quarter with
But
time left, right?
yeah, it wasn't third or with 5 minutes left and still another game to be played. Like, no, that was it. It was done. I've never seen a player do that before. Not even in a regular season game. I can't remember a time that happened.
Yeah. And Iverson saying there's like 7 All-Stars from 2013 on the Lakers. But then if you go, what is it?
No, so it's like every single All-Star from the 2013 team is either on the Nets or the Lakers, except for Chris Paul.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So one more question, and then I want to talk some U.S. men's soccer, and I know that's not Salty's bag per se, so he can jump off if he'd like to.
Yeah,
but
I'm gonna bounce. But thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, pleasure. No, thank you. Real quick, give me 4 teams in the Western Conference that can challenge the Suns. Give me a top 4 team
that can challenge the Suns.
Yes.
Golden State, if Clay comes back and he's good. The Lakers, if they strike gold. Utah's going to be up there. And who else?
I'm personally going to say Portland.
That's what I was going to say.
I like Chauncey. I don't think Dallas is going to do it. And Kawhi ain't going to be ready to go. And
I don't know. I'm not really sold on Portland, but yeah, for sure, throw Portland in there.
I'm not. I don't think it's Chauncey necessarily. I think it's the fact that they got who they get just recently.
They're just undersized.
They are undersized. I agree.
They don't play defense. I mean, the coach can do so much with that team. I know that Blazers Uprise, they feel good about it, but the fact that they didn't trade CJ in the offseason and stuff like that. So I don't know. I just think the Suns are top dogs.
You don't think Larry Nance moves the needle for them though?
Not really.
I think he does.
I mean, he'll improve that team, but they still have massive holes on that team. And I don't know.
Reminds me of Aaron Gordon signing. Like, it's good. Does it move the needle? Not quite, but a damn good signing.
They're just not a defensive team, and I don't think that. I mean, just because on paper Chauncey Billups is going to be a good head coach, you still have to do it. There's plenty of examples of signings of coaches that didn't work out. So until you do it, you don't know how these coaches are going to pan out. So you can't just pencil him in as a good coach unless he actually does it. So,
and Frank Vogel is trash for the Lakers, by the way. Salty, thanks so much for joining. Hopefully you can come on again with some Cardinals talk, and we'll see you potentially after week 1.
All right, later.
Thank you. Whoops, sorry about that. U.S. men's national team. I don't have a banner or anything created for them because we don't really talk about them too much, but they tied again today against Canada. 1-1. They tied their last game. Their next one is Wednesday or Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. After not getting to the World Cup in 2017 when they were qualifying, I'm frustrated. I'm honestly frustrated. I was pissed when they didn't qualify, bro. When they lost or tied that game, I was pissed.
That's embarrassing.
That's embarrassing. And they talked about all this shit. They're going to come in. They're going to change this. We're going to get a new coach. They did all this stuff, and it just feels like it's the same, potentially worse.
I don't think so. The team is younger than it's been, so there's a lot of inexperience there that they're figuring out. But the Canada game, I'm not worried about. That I'm like, Canada's feisty. They're pretty good. They've gotten better. The El Salvador game, tying that game, that is inexcusable. They should not have tied. That's a loss. They might as well just lost that game. So that is troublesome. Who they got on Wednesday?
I just had it up and I had to close some browsers because I had too many open. Let me pull it up too.
Honduras. Oh yeah, Honduras. They'll spank Honduras, dude. Honduras, they'll beat.
I thought we were gonna beat Canada, bro.
Canada. I mean, I could see that one. We should have beat El Salvador. There's no way we should have lost El Salvador. Jamaica. Panama.
They're 0 for so far. I mean, we have what, not 12 games total. So like there's
Yeah.
still plenty of games, but at the same time, considering we didn't make the World Cup because of 1 point, I feel like every game is so brutally important, bro.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, and there's some good teams. I mean, Costa Rica, Mexico, and Panama, like those are decent teams. So I mean, they have to they can't have a tie with a mediocre team. So they have to beat Jamaica both times. They're gonna have to they have to beat El Salvador again. Or did they play them again? Yeah, and then Honduras again. I mean,
We play everybody again, so that's the good thing.
yeah. But yeah, they cannot have ties against garbage teams. You know, they need to have those ties if they're going to have them against Mexico or like Costa Rica or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to be back here Wednesday night as well, too. I'm going to do a little Sun Devil preview pod against UNLV. U.S. plays that night. I really want to talk about the U.S. a little bit more.
Yeah.
Are you going to be joining us a Wednesday night?
I should be. I'm going to watch that game.
Awesome. So we'll see what they can do. I do want to get into just a little bit of college football briefly. Do you want to stay on for a little bit, or are you going to hop off? I know you didn't get to watch too much college.
I'm going to jump. But it's great. Glad to see you guys in the chat, even though, you know, most of it's been redacted, but, you know, it's fun.
No, good stuff. We're going to keep growing. We're going to keep having fun. We're going to have a good year. Ahmet, thank you for joining, my man.
All right. Thanks.
Deuces. College football week 1 was just a whole lot of fun for me. It's one of my favorite sports. I loved it because, you know, the players didn't get paid. They're playing for pride in school. Now, I'm glad they're getting name, image, and likeness. I'm glad they're getting that. They should. Me and Joe Healy talked about that. But let's get into some of the scores. I mean, obviously, UCLA beat Hawaii. They still kind of count that week 1, but that was week 0. Arizona State beat Southern Utah. We had questions about that. Utah beat Weber State 40-17. Kind of looked like the same kind of issue Arizona State had against Southern Utah. It's hard to read too much into that one. Colorado looked like they had a tough time against Northern Colorado. I'm not sold on them at all. And then we got into yesterday. Oregon had to scrape, bite, claw, scratch, do whatever they could, and finally at the very end pull away from Fresno State. And they play Ohio State next week. I'm not sold on Oregon. They are not world beaters, but they were the only Pac-12 North team to actually get a W. Moving on from yesterday, USC looked pretty good against San Jose State, 30-7. UCLA, 38-27 over LSU. Wow. That's a big win for the conference. That's a big win for that program. They are 2-0. Chip Kelly has everybody believing. I don't think we're going to see many more empty stadiums over in Pasadena. And then it got ugly. Montana beat Washington 13-7. Montana beat Washington 13-7. Now I know Washington's used to getting beat 13-7. I know they're used to it. What's up, 6-man Sundo? I know UCLA, bro. Hey, if you want to hop in and talk some college football, I'm going to be going on a rant here for a while. So if you want to jump in, let me know. I'll send you an invite. 13-7 Montana. That's fucking laughable. I'm writing Washington off now, and they play Michigan next week. My second favorite team in college football, Michigan. They play Michigan, and that's going to be big L. But we started the day off with 2 L's in the Pac-12. K-State beat Stanford 24-7. This felt like the 2015 Stanford versus Northwestern game, like in a nutshell. Everybody was high on Stanford coming in this year. Oh, they're going to turn it around. Oh, they're going to do this. Their coach hasn't doing that. No, they just put up an egg, man. 24-7. Purdue beat Oregon State 30-21. You guys noticing a trend here with the Pac-12 North? Absolutely horrid. And then going into the night games, Nevada beat Cal 22-17. California opened the 2 drives 14-0. 2 drives. They look like they couldn't be stopped. They didn't score until the 4th quarter. 3 points. 3 more points. Meanwhile, Nevada did what they do. followed by Jay. Was it Jay? Oh, what's their coach's name? Used to be the wide receiver coach for ASU, and then he bailed to go get his team as well. Jay Norvell, I think. 22-17, Nevada over Cal. That was a horrible game for Cal. The worst game of the night was by far BYU and Arizona. And hey, the Cougs pulled it out. They tried to give that game away. Arizona tried to win. Gunner Cruz just is not good enough. I'm actually surprised, though. 34-45 for 336 yards. I was actually really, really impressed by that. Roy, I'm going to get to your comment in a minute, but we have one more at loss for the Pac-12 North we get to discuss. Utah State beat Washington State. Man, what the hell? That's future Big 12 school BYU to you, sire. Yes, it is. You're completely right. Let me get your comment up there. You're completely right, but that's not going to be talked about until, what is it, Monday or Tuesday? They expected an official invite. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do there. Arkansas, 38-17. I mean, their quarterback was 12 of 25 for 152 yards. And Trelon Smith, I do like Trelon Smith. I do like him. I think Arkansas is going to have a real uphill battle this year. 500. And if they got a bowl game, I think Arkansas should be happy, especially in the SEC. It's been a while since y'all have had a workhorse like Darren McFadden, though. That I remember him in the Arkansas. Was it that 6 overtime game a couple years back? Man, I was an Arkansas fan back then when they had him, but since then, I mean, Brett Bielema did not work out. I thought he was going to bring the Hogs over there, get that offensive line just like he had at Wisconsin. But Wisconsin just keeps churning out dudes left and right on the both ends of the line. But other than that, let me go to some top 25 action here. There was some amazing games. I had fun on Thursday. I had fun watching Ohio State and Minnesota. I thought Minnesota was going to upset them. I really, really did. So I had fun on that game. Friday night, I had fun watching Virginia Tech and North Carolina. And then watching Kenneth Walker III for Michigan State. Did y'all see him? 240 plus yards and 4 TDs against Northwestern. Not the biggest Sparty fan, but Kenneth Walker, dude, early Heisman talks right now. You have 240 yards and 4 TDs. You are doing something right. The game of the night was not really the game of the night, though, dude. Georgia Clemson 10-3. That was kind of boring. I mean, it was. Defense was good. Stadium was packed. Energy was there, but 10-3. Damn. Next game, Alabama and Miami. Did anybody actually think Miami had a chance? I mean, I know their quarterback has like 3 years experience. Alabama had a new one. But at one point, do we just stop saying, oh, Alabama's got to do reload, but they have this. But it doesn't matter what it is for Bama. They have a system that works and they reload every single year and they're ready for a national championship. I mean, they're the number 1 team again and they just proved it. Miami. Yeah. Thank you, Roy. Did you see when the turnover chain came out and then they had to put it back away after the replay? Like, it was just annoying. When is Miami going to be back? Texas A&M cruised against Kent State. Iowa State and Northern Iowa, they only won 16-10. Iowa State's number 7. Northern Iowa, 16-10. I can't wait to see what the rankings come out because you need to go down. Iowa State is not a top 10 team or a top 8 team. Cincinnati, 49-14. I'll admit I talked a little ish on Cincinnati, but 49-14, that's respectable. And you're supposed to get a Big 12 bid too, Cincy. So you need to come out blazing this year. Oregon, we talked about. My favorite game was honestly Penn State, Wisconsin. And that game was low too, 16-10, but that had everything we wanted in a game. That had turnovers at critical moments. A lot of yards through the air, a lot of yards on the ground. Nobody could really punch it in. College kickers will be college kickers. That was a lot of fun. Penn State coming out with a dub on that one. Florida beat Florida Atlantic. They're going to be good this year. We talked about the Pac-12 teams, and then goose egg over here, Iowa against Indiana. Did you guys see the jerseys that Indiana came out and was spelled Indinia? Didn't even say Indiana. You knew right then you were taking an L, man. 34-6, Iowa came out and steamrolled. Iowa's better than Iowa State. Put Iowa in the top 10 as far as I'm concerned. Texas 38-18 over Louisiana. The Raging Cajuns were not raging that night. I don't know why people thought they'd be ranked 23. I know what you did last year in a COVID year, but come on, man. Louisiana Raging Cajuns, the Utes can take them. Arizona State can take them. UCLA. That's not a top 25 program. And then Oklahoma and Tulane. Anybody else see that game? I mean, I did like how Oklahoma put the Tulane, since it was moved from, because the Hurricane has moved from New Orleans over to Tulane. I do like how they put to Norman, Oklahoma. They put the green wave on the field. That was a nice touch, but 40-35. People are talking up Spencer Rattler. I'm not the biggest of Spencer Rattler fans coming out of Arizona. 30-39, 300 yards and only a TD, but it looked rough. But the game tonight, right when I was about to get on here, I saw it was 38-28. Notre Dame was up. I see that they pulled it out in overtime. That was a lot better than I thought. Notre Dame, it probably says more about Florida State than it says about Notre Dame. We could see Florida State making some noise, but we need to get into week 2. Roy, Bulldogs, who are you talking? Which Bulldogs team? Fresno State? There's a couple Bulldogs. Getting into the games next week. Let's start with the Pac-12. Arizona State, the mighty Arizona State Sun Angels, play 8:30 my time, and they play UNLV. This should be a dub. Arizona State should come out and they should rock them 40 plus points to 7 or 10. UNLV is hot garbage. They lost to Eastern Washington. They are not any good. We should come out and smoke them. Roy, Georgia. I mean, respect to them for beating Clemson in the first game. I mean, I could see them easily making it to the playoffs, even if they lose the SEC, even if they lose the championship game. If it's between Georgia and Bama, I could absolutely see both of those teams coming out. But watch out for Florida. I think Florida's going to be good this year. And the biggest cocktail party, I wish I could go to that game. I've always wanted to go to a Florida-Georgia game, the biggest cocktail party. I would love to go to that. But Georgia's going to be good this year. And I'm very thankful I don't live in Atlanta this year and I don't have to hear about Georgia all the time. Sadly, I got to hear about the U and I got to hear about BYU. But the game of week 2 for the Pac-12, there's 2 of them, but this one takes it. It's Oregon and Ohio State. Oregon's going to get crushed, man. I think Oregon's going to get crushed. They did not show it to me this year or this last week against Fresno State. Maybe they were hiding some things. Maybe they went complete vanilla and they'll come out bonkers. We've seen it happen. But the way they played, I just don't see it. Texas A&M going to Colorado. That's an L for Colorado, but it's nice that they get an SEC team going over to Boulder. Cal at TCU. I can see Cal coming out and winning that game. I can, but they look like hot garbage and they got a lot they need to work on. Portland State at Washington State. I can see Portland State winning that. Like, get out of here, Wazoo. One of the games I'm really, really looking forward to, and hopefully I'll be done with work and stuff by this point. Washington at Michigan. It's the dub versus the M. Go blue, man. I would love to see Michigan pull this off. Go blue, especially against Washington. They won't be ranked 20 either. San Diego State at Arizona. Go Aztecs. Bear down for what? In this household, the biggest game will be Utah at BYU. We are going to get into March Madness when it rolls around because I have no idea. There were so many things going weird last year, Roy. I have no idea, especially, I'm an Arizona State fan. They have a whole new roster, almost top to bottom. We are definitely going to get into March Madness when that comes around. Utah, BYU. I think Utah's going to smack them. BYU looked like garbage against Arizona. Maybe Arizona's a little bit better this year. Maybe BYU's good. I don't know, but they did not look good. I mean, Arizona has 13-game losing streak. They have the longest losing streak in college football currently, and they were struggling with them. Utah's going to go in, and they're going to smack them, and they're going to shut BYU up because that's good, because the very next week, Arizona State's going to go to BYU and smack them. And then we got Old Faithful, week 2 matchup of Stanford, USC. USC's going to win. Stanford looked like garbage against K-State. Couldn't do anything against them. 7 points. It's supposed to be a David Shaw year. But sadly, It's not. Keaton Slovis is going to run all over them, and they're going to go 2-0. And then we end up with a really intriguing matchup, Arizona State fans. We have Coach Todd Graham, Hawaii, going to Oregon State. Hawaii looked awful against UCLA. I didn't even see who they play, but I know that they won because they're 1-1, and they're going to play Oregon State. I don't even know how to call that, but I am going to say probably Oregon State. We'll see what happens. A lot of good games next week. I love college football. I hope you guys tune in and we can talk about it on the podcast. Roy, thanks for coming in. Nick Sundo, thanks for coming in. JV, obviously, Salty. Did you see Flex News about the Suns making a move this week? We're waiting on it, Roy. I'm waiting for that Thad Young move. That Thad Young move is going to make us. People won't say we're the deepest team, but I've been saying it since the beginning of last season. We have that X factor. We have team chemistry. We have organic team chemistry. And I think that kind of move absolutely does it for us. So stay tuned, Suns fans. If something comes up, I'll come on. I'll drop something real quick. I'd love to talk about it. We're going to get Darth Voida on soon. And big news, I am going to be on Suns Jam Session on Tuesday. So let's watch Suns Jam Session for my very first appearance on there. One of my favorite podcasts. So please tune in Tuesday, 7 o'clock local Arizona time. Thank you for everybody coming in. We're almost at 2 hours, and I actually want to keep these a little bit less time. So a lot to talk about, a lot of Cardinal stuff, a lot of Sun stuff, a lot of Arizona State. You got U.S. men's national team, a lot of good times in sports. It's good finally to have it be this busy. So a lot to talk about. That's why we went on a little bit longer, but I hope you listen. I hope you enjoy. Please please share this out. Really appreciate everybody's support. I love doing this, and I do this for me and my friends and people to talk to and connect with about sports, because sports is my passion, and that's why I do this. So I hope you continue to support. Please go over to Anchor, subscribe to the podcast there, and donate to help keep this running. Go over to Spotify and hit the like button, subscribe, follow, Google Podcasts. I'm on all of them, man. So He's on Fire podcast. Thank you so much for coming by. I'm going to leave you with this little outro, and I hope to see you guys next time. All right. Cheers, everybody. Thank you again. Go Suns. Go Cards. Sports up. He's on Fire podcast.
Urkavici sets. Looks up. And it is caught. Down strong. Blitz coming. Matthews. Palmer extending the play. Crosses the field. Larry Fitzgerald.
There he scores. It's over.
It's insane. To the 4-yard line.
Crowder looking, throws it alley. Oh! He puts it down. He puts it down. They're getting a little wobbly. The downfield shot. The foot race. They won't get it.